Hello everyone and welcome to the April Koha-US System Administration Special Interest Group. I'm Lisette. I'm the chair of this special interest group. We've got a couple, we had at least one new face, but now they're gone. They'd even put that it was their first time in their name. Oh no, you just moved. Okay. Might be nice to go around and introduce ourselves because it's been a while since we've done that, and there's some new people. So I'm Lisette Scheer. I'm the System Administration Assistant at the Latah County Library District in North Idaho. We're part of the ValNet Consortium, which is about 50 libraries. Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm the Technical Services Librarian at San Francisco Maritime National Historical Park.
Jason.
I'm Jason Robb. I am the Seek and Find Coordinator for the Southeast Kansas Library System. We manage a consortium we're up to 48 now. We're cataloging our 48th library in Southeast Kansas. And I'm also the Koha-US Secretary.
Rhonda.
Okay. My name's Rhonda Kuiper. I am Technical Services and Collection Development Manager at Round Rock, Texas. We are one location, and I am currently the Koha-US President.
Eric.
Yes, I am Eric Swenson. It's my first time joining the meeting today, so I'm excited to see what it's all about. I'm from Salina Public Library, so the middle of the state of Kansas. We just joined up with Bywater here in September, and I've been meaning to join more SIGs ever since because the part of the joy is the community. So here I am, community, let's do stuff. So.
Welcome. James.
My name is James Mitchell. I'm the Systems Librarian at the University of North Alabama in Florence, Alabama. That's the northwestern tip corner of Alabama. We are a Koha library. We have been so since August of last year, and I think this might be my second time attending a meeting. I just keep missing them, so I managed to make it for the second time today. So thank you for having me.
Yeah. Barbara.
Hi, I'm Barbara Johnson. I'm at Bedford Public Library, Texas. We're a single location. And this year I'm serving as Koha-US Vice President.
Okay, Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Coert. I'm in Arlington Public Library. I work on the data analysis team and IT. And we've been on Koha since June last year.
Okay. Brenda has no mic today. She's the library tech manager at Washoe County Library in Reno /Sparks, Nevada. Tasha.
Hello, Tasha Bales. I don't have a webcam. I'm systems librarian at the Boeing Company in Mesa, Arizona, and will be implementing Koha this summer.
Cool. That's exciting. Okay. Daphne.
Hi, I'm Daphne Houlihan. I'm support manager with Interleaf Technology in Ireland, and we provide support to all the Koha installations in Ireland. I'm not going funny, I think, at the moment, so I'll keep my video on, but I might turn it off if my internet connection can't cope.
Sounds good. And Holly.
Hi, I also work at Interleaf Technology with Daphne, and I'm the systems librarian there, so I provide support to other librarians with any questions or issues they might have about Koha.
Okay, welcome everybody. Does anyone have any announcements for today's meeting? Okay. Anyone doing anything cool with reports? I have an update on my PayPal report that we were talking about last time, now that we've been live for a while. What we ended up doing, because of the way our consortium works, we want the money to go to the owning library for their items, which mostly works really well with the PayPal reports. But if multiple items are paid off on the same payment, it's hard to just say, like, this is the total amount that needs to go to that owning library. So we ended up just doing, let's see, that one, a list of all the transactions where then we can just look at it to double check and make sure that it's not trying to add up things incorrectly. For the whole month of March, we only had 11 transactions. We have 48 libraries. So it's not like we're having to go through hundreds of transactions and do the math. And also on most of them, it's, the amount collected is the same. It's just like one item, one fine. But it is very helpful to have that kind of information. Here I can, yeah, there's patron information on the report, so I can't really show what it looks like. But what we did was we have the amount collected in a column, the fee amount that was paid off, and so then we can compare. If those match, then it's easy to just say who that goes to. We also have a column for previous payments. So if part of it was paid off before, we'll see that. Usually that's not happening because mostly they're just paying off like a whole lost billed item. Who the patron was, just a note that it's a PayPal payment, which I could probably take off. That was mostly when I was testing, when it was paid. And then we have, if there's an item number still associated, we have that in. And if not, it says deleted in the item column. And then we have the owned by column. So then we can just sort it by that when our financial guy can sort it and add it up. When the fee originally was, the description in the note. So if there's anything like weird where we're like, oh, I'm not really sure what's going on with this, we can read the notes. And it's pretty easy. This is the first month we've had the report. We only had like one payment in the whole month of February when we launched it. And I can go ahead and share that. I should probably put that one in the SQL library, but I can also put it in the notes from this meeting, so we at least have this. Oh, that pastes very terribly. I always forget. So, no. Okay, I'll figure that out later. I'll add it to the reports library and add a link is probably the best way to do that. So that, because it doesn't want to paste nicely into the Google Doc, as reports often don't want to paste nicely into Google Docs. Anyone else have any neat reports they're working on?
So these aren't my reports, but George has some bonkers reports on collection analysis and stuff that I was asked to adapt to our system for an upcoming collection development workshop. So I thought he probably won't mind. I'll share his link there in the chat of some of these reports that he's put together. And then I learned a few neat tricks with these reports. So I can share my screen on this one. Maybe. See how incriminating how much I can incriminate myself here. Okay, this is, you see the flexible shelf list report here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so some of the stuff that I hadn't implemented on my reports previously were the baseline all filters on my parameter dropdowns. Also pre-populating date fields, and this I'm just realizing is a little funky because the format is weird. I'll probably have to fix that. But pre-populating the date fields so that when you run the report, I'll back it up a little. So when I hit run report, it fills in my start dates and end dates automatically, so that if my library wants to run this, they can just hit run. They don't have to fill anything in by default, but then they can go in and change things if they want to tweak and adjust. I also, what George did on his reports was like he has authorized value lists of numbers. So like he can pull that into the report. I didn't want to build those authorized value lists of thousands, hundreds of numbers. So I just used jQuery to change these to number type fields. So then you get the little number ticker and pre-fill it with the 0, because that's what pulls back the most results here. So I can show the SQL on that. So like I said, it's a little bonkers, you know, George and his SQL is thousands and thousands of lines. But some of the things like I was talking about, just adding a colon all after your parameters gives you the all option on that. So yeah, I thought that was a useful report, and we can try and run it. I'm gonna run it for a smaller library just to see what happens. Those date things might throw it off. Nope.
Are you pre-filling those with jQuery, Jason?
Yes. So the percent sign is pre-filled, the dates are pre-filled, and the numbers are pre-filled with jQuery.
Cool. And is that just for that specific report using the...
Actually, I can show you my jQuery. I borrowed some of it from George and then kind of adapted it out. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, so it's right here at the top. So basically it's looking at the label. So anytime I use the term date 1, it's gonna pre-fill this value, which is we started in 2008. So if we go back to 2000, that's pretty much all of our data. So that one's hard coded. If it says date 2 in the label, then it's pre-filling today's date. So we're getting the whole range pre-filled. And then it's just looking at the terms. So if it says or a percent symbol, then I'm telling it to fill in a percent symbol. If it's saying X or more, I'm telling it to put a 0 in and then changing that field type to a number because that's all I want in that field. And then if it says X or fewer, then I'll put in 999 because that's a top of the range, and also change that to a number.
Yeah. Neat.
So yeah, and then as far as the results go, the Zoom controls are hiding things now. The results are a shelf list, basically with different circulation data and collection analysis stuff. One thing that this report had that we weren't using as a consortium that's really handy is to see how many copies there are in our entire system, so that the library can see, oh, well, we have 17 copies of this. Maybe we don't need to keep that one in our collection because we can just request it in. So that was really handy. And then also on George's, the thing I linked, he's got some different spreadsheets that he's using. So this spreadsheet down here lets you take the results from that report and paste them into the spreadsheet, and then it gives some different collection analysis stats.
Oh, nice.
So like it lists out the publication dates and average dates of whatever you run it on. And since it's flexible, we can filter it down to different specific collections and analyze those specifically, or we can look at the entire collection. And then in that same vein, other things I harvested from George. He had some other reports for collection age, so those can be run like entirely within Koha and turnover. And I did a little tweaking on those too, just because our systems are set up differently, so I kind of simplified things out. But for example, this report can give me a total item count, and then it says how many of those items have dates on the record, the median age of the collection, and then the average age of the collection. So that was report number 2. And then the third type of report I borrowed was this turnover report, and that's the one I've been still kind of working on a little bit. But if I do like last year to this year, and this one's using CircStats, so it might be a little slow. So this one lists turnover by shelf location. So it counts how many items are in the shelf location, how many circs happened in that time frame I just put in, and then gives me the turnover rate. So we can see like how used that collection is. And then it just puts in little dashes if there weren't any checkouts there. So that was report type number 3. And like I said, George's are far more complex than mine. So if you have special situations or whatever, his probably are more accommodating than mine are, but still very useful.
Yeah.
My problem with this one was I wasn't sure if I was getting exactly the right numbers, because when I run them, the counts are right, but the circs don't always match up if I run just a plain circ report. So I'm still kind of troubleshooting on that one.
Cool. I have another report we've been working on, once again using those ISBN stuff that Jason showed us back in January, I think it was. So here, I can go ahead and share my screen. My adult services librarian asked me if we could do a report of like the 10 most checked out books in a range at our library district, which right now I don't have the selector for library district. I just have it set to be ours. Because one of the things that we have to do, that we did to make it work better, was we set up some authorized values where we can put in multiple collection codes with pipes. And you have to do this like /B parentheses. I don't remember why you have to do that, but to make that work. And then you can have like a drop down that has like our graphic novels and adult comic books in one selection. And so then you can select, start and end date, collection. You can select the same one twice, but our nonfiction was too big to fit it all into one authorized value. So we did, because we have the 900s separated out into smaller sections. It's all Dewey, so we have like everything less than 900 and then all the 900s. And then if you run it, and we did say like if you wanted to do just cookbooks, so we put in the call number, and this is, I'm going to use your jQuery totally, Jason, because I have some stuff like this that has like a call number range, but you don't always care about putting in a call number range. Oh, and of course, a bunch of them don't have images available. Which also, this report, Jason, might be using your no image available link, because I hadn't come across any yet to see that, because we've mostly been running it on fiction and the cookbooks. So then it pulls up like the top 10 with the pictures, which is just nice because then our adult librarian can just kind of grab it all at once for, like, they're doing their online Zoom book club next week, I think. And she wanted to be like, since the last time we meet, these are the fiction books that have been getting read the most. And it's just like a nice, easy graphic thing there. Yeah. And that's using, Jason shared this ISBN trimming to make them all ISBN 10s. And then, yeah, that's totally, that's your
Yeah, that's my
image
Dropbox
available.
folder.
I'll change that sometime. We only
It's
finished getting
cool.
this working yesterday, so that was the first time I've ran it with no available images. And then just title, statistics, and we do have it set so that I just hard coded in the statistics branches Moscow and the R7 branches because when I was left joining the groups, it was getting weird. I have to troubleshoot that some more. Sometimes that doesn't play as nicely. So that's like that and the PayPal are kind of the reports I've been working on this month. Anyone have any other neat reports?
I pasted that jQuery in the agenda.
Oh yeah, thank you. Anyone have any bugs that they are wanting feed or reports? If I moved on too fast from that, reports or bugs that they want to talk about?
I was just kind of curious, like what's kind of the protocol of asking George for like that report stuff, like the code? How do we do that kind of thing? Is that
just email him?
Okay. Okay.
It's not. It's not fun.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he's got a lot of modifications to his system,
Okay.
and a lot of the stuff. There were 1,700 lines of code, I think, across those 3 different reports, and a lot of that stuff you don't need exactly.
Okay.
Because he's doing like groupings by some of his libraries and that kind of thing. So I'm sure he's happy to share the code, but it's probably not going to work right out of the box for you.
Sure.
No,
but that makes
yeah, just email him. I actually have like he doesn't even know that I stole it. I have a login to their system, so I went in there and just kind of borrowed it. But yeah, I'm sure he's happy to share the SQL if you email him. I don't think he's putting it on the wiki and stuff like that just because it's so specialized.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I don't know, George. I don't know that George is on like the Bywater Slack much, but if there's other people that have talked about things that they're doing that you want to ask about, if I think you're on the Bywater Slack. I think I've seen you in there. I'm in there a lot. So like if you see people in there that you're like, oh, that's a cool thing, I would like more information about that, please. People are happy to share.
Yeah, I feel kind of like one of those just like consumers though right now. Like I have nothing really to offer. I just see all the shiny things and I want them. So it's just like, I mean, I've got a report, but it's like, hey, we're cleaning up our cities with our patrons, but I'm pretty sure everybody already has one of those reports, So I mean, it's like,
Heather's shaking her head. I think she needs that report from you.
Okay. Yeah. Great. I would love to share that. Awesome. It's basically we have it's a 2-step process that we run because when we first migrated, we had a different system that kind of put city and state with a comma in between it all into the city field. And we were just kind of like, oh, that's kind of annoying. And we didn't realize that till migration. And we were like, oh, cool. let's figure out how to trim that up. And so we have one report that just says, here's all your cities that you have in your database. So we know what we need to kind of like seek and destroy, you might say. And then we have a second report, which is just asking for a, like, what city are you looking for? And it puts it inside of a wild card. So anything that matches on that city, like all the Alma Kansases that are mistyped or whatever, all come into this one thing. And then it just populates it so you can batch modify from that report right there, which is just it's kind of nice, you know. So, and we're not dealing with like thousands of people at a time. So usually when we just set the record set to about 500 or so, we can just kind of batch them through pretty quick. So we just started using that this month. I don't know how to share that properly, Heather. So I just
have you seen the reports area on the Koha Community Wiki?
Yes, it's amazing. So
that's a great place to share your reports, and it's really pretty easy to do.
Okay. Maybe following the meeting, I will talk to someone about that. I don't want to take up too much time of trying to explain to the newbie how things work. So,
well, you're probably not the only one wondering how it works.
You know, I could go put my PayPal one up on screen
yeah.
share. Okay, let me just open it up again. And make sure I have my login to the Koha Wiki. That's the first step, is getting a login to the Koha Wiki.
Okay.
Which I can screen share where you would do that.
And then the second step, if this isn't the first time you've used it, is to recover your password because you've forgotten what your login is to the Koha Wiki.
Yeah. So up here where there's the login button, it's on every page. I saved mine, but you can obtain a user account by requesting one. And it also might go a little faster if you haven't heard back in a couple days from your with your information. If you go onto the IRC, the Koha Community IRC, and just say like, hey, I signed up for an account a couple days ago and I would like to add things to the wiki, probably Kate will go, oh, you're a real person, cool, and add you. That's what happened to me, at least. And some of that might just be like, if it happens and they're getting a lot of spam accounts or whatever. But yeah, if it takes a couple days and you haven't gotten, just ask in the IRC, because there's a few people who are doing the management of the accounts. So then, let's see, we want the reports library here. Get to that in a second. So I'll go to the main reports library. You know, there's a lot of stuff on here. We're putting newer reports, if they're CERC patrons or holds, into their respective categories. Otherwise, you would, let's see. So that's a PayPal transactions report. Some of the pages have, and I didn't see one on here, but have like a template that you copy. Usually it's at the top, and I did not. Maybe it's after all the links. No, it's not. Okay. So if there's not a template on your page, well, first you want to make sure that you're in the right section. So like cataloging stuff, quality control, collection development, accounting reports. So like we want our accounting, PayPal reports are going to be an accounting report. So then we want to edit the section that's the PayPal or the accounting reports. And then it looks kind of intimidating since there's not a different. Oh, one sec, let me just look real quick and make sure there wasn't a separate PayPal section. Miscellaneous. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that PayPal report is down at the bottom. Okay. Yeah, so we want to put it like after this, after these fine things. So, if there's not a template, then instead what you would do is just copy like so this is a new section, this duplicate fines, and then you want to put in, you know, developer module, a little information, and the status. So like if it's in progress but maybe not completely working, but you want to put it up because people are interested or it fixes a problem that's happening a lot for people, or if it the other thing is if you get a report out of the library that's really old and it's not working, you could edit and put a note in about that. And then everything, the report will go inside the syntax highlight. So first I'll copy this and I'll say PayPal transactions sorted by branch. Lisette Scheer, Utah County Library District / Method Consortium. It's still in the accounting module. These are all my different, I was testing a bunch of different things. Gotta clean up my reports there. Then I'll put this into the syntax highlight section and remove the whole thing. Let's see. So this is shows patrons or shows PayPal payments in the last month, sorted by owning library. I'm gonna put, just because that's pretty similar to some of the other PayPal reports. And I guess one of the things that we did in here is the owning library also, if it was a manual invoice, it will grab the branch code of whoever put in the manual invoice, so that if we're rebilling something, it'll, rebilling and deleting an item, it'll still catch it for the correct person, which only works on, I think, older manual invoices that are getting paid off don't catch that, but newer ones should, because I think that was a field that was added later. Also, typos happen sometimes. And let's see, sorted by owning library, added Lisette's PayPal report. This is a minor edit. I'm just adding a PayPal report. I'm not like reorganizing the entire page. You can do like a show preview, and then it'll show like, okay, yeah, that came out correctly, and go ahead and save. So it's pretty easy, try not to edit other people's reports or mess up the page. I always preview even if I'm pretty sure I got it right, so I'm like double check that I'm not putting it in the middle of somebody else's or something like that, just because, I don't want to do that. Hasn't happened yet, so.
And Lisette, do we always add it just to the last, the end of the section?
I'm not sure really I usually do that unless, like, a lot of what I've been editing lately is the template toolkit notices and slips, as I've been working on those, and like if I have two variations of my own report, I might go in and put my variation next to my original. Or like with my notices and holds, my hold slips, I did like our first hold slip, and then 6 months later I figured out like, oh well, we can do all sorts of different slips for based on like staff or specific borrower numbers or whatever for our mending cards, and went back and added those, and I just put it right next to my other one because it was like a expansion of what was already there. I'm not really sure what the protocol is if you're like taking someone else's report and expanding on it and then putting it back in the library, if it's okay to put it nearby. I mean, I think a lot of people control F for things that they care about when they're doing the reports library. That's how I've seen people do it. That's how I do it. And so then it's like you might see everything even if it's in a weird order, as long as it's all on the same page. That'd probably be a good question to find out the answer to.
Yeah, I think I've always been told to, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been told this, but to put it at the bottom, it also creates like a chronological record. So like if you're looking for newer reports added, then you know the ones at the bottom are that. But
yeah,
I know that they talked about like reorganizing this big time because it's gotten a little big. So
yeah, I did see that there's a they're planning on upgrading or migrating the wiki, I think, to a new platform because this one isn't supported anymore, really. This particular wiki variant. And so I think at the last Koha community developers meeting, they said, yeah, we are going to go ahead and change it. So the rules might also, maybe they'll have rules posted with the new wiki about the best way to do it, especially to try and keep things together.
Well, and I saw too there on that screen that you had up that one of them had a, said it worked with version, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them had it was like completed with a date. And that always seems kind of helpful to know that.
Yeah. That's a good point because not everyone's going to think, like sometimes if I'm unsure, I'll check. You can look somewhere. There's a way to see edit history. You might have to be in editing the page to see it. Or it might be, oh yeah, at the top of the page, if you're logged in, at least, there's like a history button and it can show different versions. So you can actually go and look and see like, oh, when was this change made? And here, actually, I'll share my screen again if I can find the Zoom controls. There we go. So like you can see I added, oh wait, did it share? It didn't share. Did it share?
You never stop sharing. You're still sharing.
I never stopped sharing my screen. Okay. No wonder things were weird. That's interesting. Your windows never got small like they usually do when I share my screen. That's why I thought I wasn't. So you can see like that I added a PayPal report. This is why it's important to put notes in about what's going on because then like Paula was beautifying, making it look nicer. These are different reports that got added or sections that got edited. I always put in a note about what I do. Otherwise, it'll just say this was like the section that was added or edited, which is fine. But I think when I got my account, Katrine told me to always put notes in about what I was doing. So that's what I do, and that's what I tell everybody else to do too. And this, I don't think it shows every revision. Oh, it's just the 50 newest. You can also look at like the oldest ones. So, yeah.
Now you're not sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason.
I did dump those reports that I shared into the agenda.
Oh, great.
I I probably won't add them to the wiki at this point just because I stole them from George and that seems wrong. But I can share them with you guys for sure. So feel free and play with those.
Cool. Thank you. Anyone have any? I haven't been following that many bugs lately, except like the same things that are always a problem for me. Like, oh, what was that one? Last week I had one. We have a problem where we have like professional development copies of stuff on the same record as other copies. That patrons can put holds on, and then they will show up on our holds list. I guess that's another report thing I did. I changed we run a report for our holds list instead of using like the built-in holds queue, and I made a change to our holds list so that it will only show professional collection item types on our holds to pull list if it's for a staff member, patron type, or a tech services card. Because what would happen is they'd show up on our holds list, but we can't cancel the hold because there's like a record level hold and other items that can fill it. And we also can't fill the hold because the item can't actually fill the hold. And there's a bug about this. I mean, I think the item can actually fill the hold, which is annoying. Let me find that bug. I updated it last week. It's kind of been a long time thing. I think the real easy way to fix it would be to just put the items on their own records. But I know that's also like cataloging wise not how everyone wants to do things, and that's important. Let's see. Was it this one? Okay, yeah, so 11350, it's a long time bug. Yeah, the hold will fill even if they shouldn't be able to, even if they're not allowed any checkouts or holds on that item, if it's on an item type, a record with an item that they can check out and place on hold. And yeah, it's still happening. It's weird because it'll seem like it's not a problem for like, it's been almost 5 years since the last time I commented on this bug, and I'm the last person who had commented on it. And it was not a thing that was coming up very frequently. And then it just, like in the last 2 months, we've had like 20 items just at our branch doing this. And we have volunteers who pull our holds for us, who are back now. They had been gone for a while, and they get immensely frustrated with it. Like, staff can just look up on the record and say, oh yeah, that's not a staff member, don't worry about looking for it. But then the volunteers are like, oh, this has been on my holds list for like 3 weeks, and because the other item hasn't come in yet for that patron. Or maybe there's a bunch of holds and it's just going to show up forever unless we do something about it. So I did something about it with the report, but it's still a problem. And so if that's a problem for your library too, you might want to comment.
Hey, Lisette, have you ever just tried creating reports or a hold pull list that excludes staff holds or staff material?
Well, what I did was I changed the report that we use so that it does exclude, if it's not a hold for a staff or tech services, professional items don't show up on the report. But they do show up if it's a hold for tech services or staff. So that's nice. It should work a lot better now. But it's still something that other people might, like if people want to use the built-in holds queue, and for whatever reason instead of their own report, it's still a way that Koha's functioning that it shouldn't. And the other thing too is that if it like if there is a staff hold on it after a record level patron hold. When you check in that item thinking that it's for a staff member, it'll still try and fill it to the patron instead of the staff member. Which it shouldn't do, because they shouldn't be able to check it out.
Gotcha. And trying to get people to use their specific reports that you created for them is always a challenge.
Yeah, at least at my branch, we have like a private staff pages that we have. Each branch has a link for their holds report. So if I change which holds report we're using, I can just go in and change the link, and they'll just be like, oh, the report looks different now. And I'm like, yep, but this is the one you need to run. It's different because we were having a problem with the other one, but more people use it and didn't want to change it because their problem was specific for our branches or whatever. So, yeah. Barbara put a couple bugs in the chat too.
The 26861, let's see, that one is, oh, that one's got to do with opaque hidden items. So like when you suspend something or suppress something in the staff client, if you're searching, you'll see a message that shows that the item is suppressed. But when you're using the opaque hidden items, you don't really get any indication that it's not showing. And it would be nice to have, you know, just a little more information there to know that that's an opaque hidden item. And then the other one, let's see, 27320. Oh, that one's on the Mark export tool. We think it'd be really helpful to be able to, you can limit it by item type, but you can't limit by collection or shelving location. And if those were available limiters, that would be really helpful. So if anybody'd like to comment on those or add your name to the list, might help them.
Cool.
So actually I put one in there, and that was 23012. And this actually has come to rear its head, ugly head, when we went fines free. And the gist of it is that when you return a found item, the processing fee doesn't get waived automatically like the replacement fee. And hoping people would comment on that to hopefully they find it useful as much as we would, this type of improvement.
Yeah. I know some libraries in Valnet, at least, we don't use a processing fee at Latah County, but we have, this afternoon I have my Valnet systems meeting, and I will bring this up to the libraries that do use the processing fees, because some of them also use the default, the refund the lost item when returned. So doing that would be, they might be interested as well. Okay. Then I had put the 2011 update on because we're getting to the point where they usually start talking. I know a lot of people just updated to 2005, like in the last couple of months, but we're getting to the point where they usually start talking about the updates for Bywater for Bywater partners at least. And I know I did ask someone about it last month, and they did say, yeah, probably early adopters will be sometime in May, and that's when they'll start, probably. You know, they were still working on finishing up their infrastructure moves, but I think the plan was pretty much to try and get that all done and then start planning the next round of updates. So, I don't know. I've looked some at the update notes for 2011. There's some neat things coming, though off the top of my head I can't really remember what any of them are right now. It's been a while since I've looked. Oh, no, I know what the most exciting things is. The damage status is going to show on the check-in table now. So if something got left marked in Mendon or another damage status, when you check it in, you'll see it. I think it's under like the due date on the far left column, just like it is on the checkout page. But that's coming in 2011, and I'm very excited for it. So, oh, and Brenda put in the chat expiration dates on holds. And some bug numbers 25619, 25631, 26656, and 21729. So, and Rebecca said I've been asking for help on 25619 as well. So let's have a look at that. Add ability to adjust expiration date for waiting holds. Yes. There are times when an item is waiting for pickup needs to have the expiration date extended. So, you know, like for us, we'd probably use it for like interlibrary loans, or if a patron called and was like, hey, I'm in the hospital and I can't come pick up my book until next week. There are no other holds on it, especially if it's a Latah County item. We're probably gonna, well, for in that situation, we'd be like, yeah, we can hold on to it. If there were holds or if it was part of the consortium, we'd have to check with like the rest of the consortium or whatever. But
yeah, ours are specifically coming from branches being open at different times and different days that people can't get there based on COVID closures. Yeah. So this has been the #1 request we've had since we went live in June, and people keep asking me about it. We have a workaround. It's very clunky. Yeah. But you know, if I could just say, move this 2 days, like that's all I need. I just need like a day or two. And it would be great if they could do it.
Do you use the automatic where it cancels holds that are waiting?
No.
Okay. Yeah, neither do we. I just wasn't sure. Okay. Yeah, Brenda said exactly. Yeah, that would be very helpful. 2, 5, 6. Also adding the ability to alter the expiration date of the hold from the patron's account in staff instead of just on the item record, being able to go and do it. Like if the patron comes in and asks about it.
Yeah, I would think it would be more on the patron record than the item record, because that's what you're looking at when you're usually dealing with someone who needs it extended.
Yeah, or someone calls and says, I'd like to extend my hold, you know.
But I'll take it either way. I mean, if I can get it, I'll take it.
Yeah. Is your workaround right now reverting the hold waiting status and then setting the new? Yeah.
Yeah, revert the hold waiting status, delete the original date, and then check it back in. So they get but then they get the full. Right now we have 7 days. So plus some of our branches are closed, which our holidays are counted on. So some of them are getting 9 or 10 days more to pick up. When if we just extended it a day or two, you know, that would have been so much more make it so much faster circulating. So yeah, we had this ability in Sierra, and so it was one of the things that when we migrated over, it was just that staff are just rebelling.
Yeah,
which I don't blame them because it's super annoying.
Yeah. And it looks like one of the bugs that Brenda put in the chat was about that the expiration dates on waiting holds appear editable, but changes aren't saved. And when reverting a hold, the expiration date should be reset. Yeah, so those are all good bugs. I'll put the links in the minutes for all of those bugs, so if people want to go comment on them, they can. Okay, anyone else have anything they wanted to talk about today?
I guess I can ask. I've been having this issue where text messages look like they're getting sent to different patrons, but the patrons aren't receiving them, and I can't find any sort of pattern to it at all. Some people get them, some people don't. There's no pattern to the providers, no pattern to the area codes. Is anybody else dealing with that?
We've had that problem with emails too.
Where it
I
says that Koha sent them, but they don't.
Yep.
And there's no bounce back message. That's what's frustrating me right now, because
Yep,
there's
that's-
no way to troubleshoot it.
Yeah, we're getting those for emails a lot. I haven't heard reports of text messages, but we actually have 2 tickets open right now about it. I know because one of them was about hold. Well, first we figured out that some people, it said they were getting overdue notices, but weren't getting restrictions placed on their account when they should have been. And then someone else opened up a ticket that was like, patrons are saying they're not getting their hold notices. And I'm like, these are definitely the same notices problem. And then I saw yesterday in the Slack, Ed at McKinney, he also opened a ticket about this. So it's definitely an issue a lot of libraries seem to be having with notices.
It seems like Bob mentioned it last week at the board meeting, maybe. So maybe the
Yeah.
infrastructure changes have messed up.
Yeah,
something.
and ours was definitely happening before our server got moved because we realized that like no restrictions have been getting placed on most patrons, which is how we're trying to do things since we're fine free. Patrons are supposed to get a restriction on their account when they have items that are 10 days overdue. It'll be shorter, but we're quarantining everything for a week right now still for now. And so we set it to 10, so it'll be like a 3 days of grace period basically, and plus the quarantine. And yeah, like almost no one's actually, people are, but a lot aren't getting restricted, and so it's becoming an issue because people are taking out tons of books and they're overdue for like months and then just getting billed, and they're not even getting notices in between because the notices aren't going out apparently.
Okay, good to know.
So, yeah. So I'm guessing it's related.
Was any of that also going along with like holds for like, we have like a holds expiring kind of like cron that's supposed to kind of run and notify people of, hey, it's been 5 days, you have 7, so please come in and pick it up. Has that also been something like, is it ones that are like that have custom crons running, or is it just the default, no, this was supposed to be the 7-day overdue behavior that isn't being sent out? Okay.
It's those ones, and like the regular hold notices, like a hold is arrived for you notices,
right,
is what we've noticed.
Okay.
Our like other cron jobs that I know about are coming in fine. Like we get a bunch of reports emailed to us; those are working fine. It does just seem to, and it's weird because like plenty of people are still getting their hold notices. It's really inconsistent. Or like one patron will get one hold in every day for 7 days, and they'll get one of them randomly notified about it, and none of the other ones. But in Koha, everything looks fine, and in our emails, we're not getting bounce backs.
Right.
So it's frustrating.
We also have a weird thing where the text messages, that they send out through the SMS gateways, the sender is like this massive long thing of the from, and it seems like there's nothing that can be done about that. Like if you're on Android, that's just what you see. So like even if you save it as a contact, you get like a different sender next time, so it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if anyone else was experiencing that and had a fix, but
I don't have a fix. It's been doing that the whole time we turned it on like as soon as it became an option, basically. Within like 2 months after the first update that it was added in. And no, that's just how it's been. I wish that you could have it come from the same number all the time, but I think just the way that maybe the system sends it out, I don't know. I don't know if that's a Koha side thing or if that's the other part of it. Who knows?
So is this happening with SMS? And is the other method MMS?
Oh yeah, it happens. I have all mine set up as MMS because SMSs seem to get more bounces. So all of mine are with the MMS gateway email addresses, or whatever the, like at mms.att.net or whatever. Each of the things has a different, each of the carriers has a different address for MMS and SMS. And so I have them all set up with the MMS because that was recommended to me at one point when we were having some issues. And it helped with whatever the issues were at the time. I don't remember what they were.
Yeah, we were having similar problems with just Sprint. We'd send the text would go out and it'd say it was sent, but we didn't get any bounce back and the user wouldn't receive the text.
Mm-hmm.
And they were recommended that we switch to MMS. We haven't done it yet because frankly, it's only one user that uses the service. So
yeah. Well, and you just have to go and edit it in the like SMS providers area. You don't have to go edit it like on the patron or anything. And it's pretty easy fix. So
is there a listing of those MMS gateways somewhere?
So what I usually do, let me make sure that this is the right address. Is it this one? Weird house sounds. Okay. Let me make sure this shows both. Okay, yeah. So freecarrierlookup.com, which also my staff uses if people don't know what their carrier is, or if it's something weird. We have them look it up because a lot of times it'll be like a subsidiary of Sprint or something, and then we just select Sprint instead of adding another one. And so if you put in a phone number and do the little CAPTCHA, it shows both the SMS gateway address and the MMS gateway address. Although I think I might have, let me check real quick before we end. I think that I did make a, here are all the ones that we added. Is that the new card? Training? No. Bye, Brenda. Thanks for coming. Yeah, and if people need to go, we're past 9 by a few minutes now, so. Oh yeah, so we've got this. I'll just share my screen with you, but I can also copy the image into the chat. These are the ones that we've added. Wait, which screen did I share? Can you see my SMS providers? Okay, yeah. So these are the ones that are in our, and this was a while ago because like this was before we switched AT&T also over to MMS at the same time we switched Sprint. And so this is like the big ones. Inland Cellular is a local cell phone provider that a lot of people use. And you can see, let's see, T-Mobile. That's interesting. I think we've actually got more than these now because we have a couple that piggyback off the other ones, but have a different name. Oh yeah, like Verizon and Straight Talk. So Straight Talk is vtex.com and so is Verizon, because otherwise people don't, if they think that if they do it through Straight Talk, even though it's actually Verizon, easier to just have it as its own thing. And so I can put this in the chat also, or in our notes also. So okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. Oh, and our next meeting will be May 11th at the same time.